Well, like Moses and the Red Sea, things have parted up ahead for these two teams. And what was, before this afternoon's games, a very big encounter becomes even bigger. It looks like Tim Notting starts on Richo.
Yeah, that's going to be a big call, and we see the matchups there. They play a big role at forward line. They need to get some ground level ball in the forward line, the Lions.
The Tigers and the Lions are underway, and one ruckman went to ground, one went up. Both missed the ball. The Tigers came away with the footy, but not for long. Sherman to Luke Power, and now to Black, and both of their seasoned midfielders decide to go back before they go forward. Anthony Curry, from out of play. That could be controversial if they score from there. Adcock delivers, but it's cut off before Bradshaw can arrive. You get another chance at it, though, with the left boot, and he will run it home for the first of the night. Well, that all started interestingly. Corrie took a mark. I wonder if he played on from 4 to the mark. I reckon he did.
Yeah, definitely. I'd go. Good call there, Tim. Great pickup, and be able to play on like that. Certainly didn't go back behind the mark. But Bradshaw was good enough to be able to get the ground level ball and get it forward. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we saw the Lions and they played against Essendon and started terribly. So the start is very important. They've put a focus on it for this week's match.
Daniel Bradshaw and Jonathan Brown have both kicked more than 50 goals for the year. It's a good start for Bradshaw.
Certainly is, and good crashing, bashing stuff out of the middle, as we would expect. Foley doing what Foley does best, generating some footy for the Tigers. They'll try and respond, but Rowe shows his dexterity there, linking up with Drummond and Adcock. An important inclusion for the Lions, surging forward. And some good movement again from Bradshaw. Good anticipation, the Tiger defence coming a cropper, but McGowan's courage rewarded because the Tigers can bolt through Jackson.
McGowan still paying for it, hasn't picked himself up yet. Here go the Tigers. Bowden doesn't have Brown. It looks as though Moore has that job. White mown down, has some supporters, but Brisbane aggressive early. Merritt trapped over it. Wasn't his doing, and there'll be a ball up.
And just a couple of other matchups, if we see that pretty big clash there, cutting across. Stiller on Foley, so that will be an interesting matchup, and also Jackson's gone to Power, so some really key matchups for this game.
So Tigers a goal down. Nathan Brown putting the ball into a handy spot there, opening things up. Good pressure, Pat Follow on Revolt. The umpire laying a shepherd on Simon Black, and it was a heavy collision. Black had the better of it. Revolt to Jackson, scoring position for Richmond. It's a goal. No, it's not. It just missed.
Gee, I liked Revolt. Twice he got it, twice he was pressured, and he was able to get the handball out on both occasions.
The Geesh obviously instructing his umpires to go in hard for the ball tonight.
Yes, they've opened up with great desire.
Now you've had some time. Clear it out.
And the Tigers at the moment are employing that much publicised 15-man zone. Or it's 16-man at the moment.
Drummond with the duties. And Adcock prominent early. Well-placed ball to the wing to Simon Black. Johnston having to come from behind. Steadfast Newman, but Johnston clever enough to hit Power, who has taken his place in the lineup despite the speculation during the week. Tambling the spoiler, but no one could spoil Jonathan Brown. Bradshaw and Copeland the long targets. Richo pushing back inside the circle as well. Goes with a shaped ball for Bradshaw, and wasn't it well shaped?
Too strong. Bradshaw just leant back on Thursfield, and once he had his body in position, let the ball come onto him. And it was just a very, very smart. Look at that, just the strength of the arm and the body to protect the ball. And that's a little bit of a worry early in this game.
Not a lot of support for Thursfield either. Bradshaw's kick on its way, as you can see. Certainly not close to being on target, but it's going to be a talking point, as it always is, Vossi, the tall forwards for Brisbane versus whoever they play against.
It is. The one thing you know, though, that Brown and Bradshaw, the difference between their good and bad is not that much. Where they've been able to get their additional goals from Brisbane when they've played well has been at ground level.
Simmons doing the crumbing, did it well for Bowden. Deledio, Jackson. And that's a very good kick to Tambling. Shook Brown off. Did it confidently and well. Good stuff from Richmond. Assertive play. Deledio just got a bad bounce. Tambling again. And he had the right idea, but he just didn't execute. And McGrath stands in the way. Travis Johnston now for the Lions. And Sherman. Exciting start here. Both teams looking to go forward quickly, directly. Sherman goes long. Black tuck with him. Straight back to Johnston, who knows how to use a footy most times. McGuan, good courage. Just caught one a couple of minutes earlier. Didn't flinch there.
And Richo spending plenty of time deep in defence so far tonight, helping to cover those giant forwards for the Lions. Kane Johnson on the way out. Got Tambling or back for Richo, or it was actually meant for McMahon, and it eventually gets there, despite the efforts of Copeland. Troy Simmons finding balance an issue. Charman finding lots of teammates around. Where to next? The long option was on, but he decides to go via Jonathan Brown. Bradshaw with 3 Tigers, but none of them close enough to stop him.
Well, it's interesting, Hunter. You said 3 Tigers. Richmond's desperately dropping numbers back to get in front of Bradshaw, because it's the combination. It's the second time we've seen this, Brown to Bradshaw. So Richmond certainly working to get numbers back. Will they be successful? That's it.
They don't seem to have been close enough yet to Bradshaw to actually help out.
The pinpoint passing 2 times now by Brown to Bradshaw is the problem for them.
So here he goes again, Bradshaw. He should have the feel for the end and the footy, and 1 out of 3 for Daniel Bradshaw.
I wonder if he's given Luke Hodge a bit of counselling since he's been down here in Melbourne, Vossi, about making sure that you're in attendance at the berth. Daniel Bradshaw, of course, missed a final a few years ago to do as Luke Hodge was prepared to do and forsake last night's game. It didn't become necessary. Newman takes it wide for Deledio. Brown and Bradshaw having a goal-for-goal struggle for their clubs. Leading goal kicker award. Bradshaw currently 2 ahead. Here's Richardson, active early. Joel Bowden, controversial this week. Now, was that mark completed over the line? I thought there was a little juggle in there, but it's paid to Simmons.
Gee, I can see Joel Bowden getting plenty of ball tonight, playing half back and midfield for the Tigers.
Richardson to McGuan. Sets it in flight, a long way up. Big task there for the man in the middle. Tuck. Numbers against him. Johnston doing it nicely for Dalziel. Sherman and McGrath mucked it up. Newman to nobody. Mistakes flowing. Power on the non-preferred side. McGrath. This is dangerous for Richmond. Oh, good tackle though by Thursfield. Just didn't quite finish the job and win the free kick. Tiger fans not happy. I think it was a fair call though. Jackson over the ball, got to get it out. Just managed to get rid of it. There'll be a ball up.
It's an interesting tactics that Tigers are using at the moment. We see the chase down. Could have been holding the ball, didn't quite complete the tackle, but they're prepared to give the Brisbane midfield time and space, which in the last few weeks sides have decided not to do. So the Tigers prepared to stick with their structure, which may mean this turns out to be a scoring fest.
So the free kick going Richmond's way, and he won't concede it behind with this kick. Out to half back. McMahon into motion to the wing to Richo. Judged it beautifully. You can't say the same for Rowe, but at least he had a crack. Johnson, and now Tambling. More promising build-up. It's a deep build-up. Long ball. Morton was waiting down. It didn't get down because Patfull and Merritt were able to sort it out for the Lions and then bring their little runners into play. Power up to the wing and a well-placed ball for Copeland.
Brisbane mopping the ball up out of defence very well in the early stages of this quarter.
His Tigers haven't been able to break through. Copeland, good centre for Adcock. Nice delivery.
Cochin has just come on, guarding the mark now.
Collier takes it wide. Brown helping it back to Riscatelli. Wasn't going to be able to break through there.
Just depends whether the Tigers can keep getting numbers back in front of Brown and Bradshaw. That's their plan at the moment. 5 times they've gone inside their forward 50 and aimed it at Bradshaw.
Brennan, third man in. Centred the ball, put it in a good spot. Sherman got it out well to Collier, just dispossessed. Tigers hold up. Schultz to Thursfield. Bowden and McMahon both there, and it's the latter who comes away with it.
To the wing and to Johnson. Cochin, at least he kept his feet because Newman hadn't. And Edwards on and in, and not quite for Richardson. Wasn't a great connection with the kick, was it?
The Edwards kick was just flat and low. He didn't quite connect properly with it.
Rowe to Delzeel.
There's not a lot of manning up going on.
What a debut last week. More disposals than anyone ever on debut on a record. And the kick goes out to Stiller eventually. Good run from behind, which is always a good sign. Patfield, not usually this adventurous, but running forward and giving the Lions a chance. Sherman clears the path for Travis Johnston, hunted down by Foley. Tiger fans again looking for some assistance from the umpire, but White didn't wait to have a look, and there's Tigers on the wing. This is Revolt. He had a running mate going past, but he decides the more central option. Bowden eventually goes to the man that gave him the run, and Delidio can line up.
I reckon the Foley tackle at half-back has set this opportunity up for the Tigers.
And it will be Nathan Brown, who was there last week when they needed him late in the game.
Here's the tackle. Have a look at it. Foley just stripped Johnson of the ball. More importantly, he recovered and got a handball out to set up this attack.
And Brett Delidio, 19 goals for the year, has spent some time up forward and also a bit on ball. He's sending it to Nathan Brown, who puts it through for a goal. And it's a one-point ball game.
Well, that turnover caused the Richmond to be able to get in behind the defence, and as a result, Delidio just popped into space. And to be honest, Adcock had dropped back, and Brown was able to drop into that hole. So good start by both teams.
Matthew Richardson starting on the wing there, already had 5 marks early stages of this first quarter. Clearances in Richmond's favour, 4-1.
Riscatelli just couldn't break loose. Notting.
Jeez, they hit him hard, don't they? The tackling intensity of modern day AFL, it's just ferocious. Richo getting back at half back there. That's a good shot of him, and the reason he's back there is to get in front of Brown and Bradshaw.
And Ash McGrath at the other end.
Good clean knock by Clark. Whipped it over the back. Collier wasn't expecting it. Tigers win the clearance. Johnson, Schultz, Thursfield. Now Moore, the key defenders, combining well. White. Tigers on the build. Took them nearly 12 minutes to score their first. And they've done well to be within a point, bearing in mind Bradshaw's had 3 set shots at them, or kicked a goal and had 2 other set shots. Now the skipper Johnson.
Gee, that was a good kick.
It was.
It was a very patient build-up, Fossey. There was no panic, no kick to a contest, about 3 short kicks until they finally set someone up in the forward 50.
And it's Mitch Morton, who has been a very productive forward for the Tigers. 5 last week, 15 in the past month. One that got away for the Eagles. They could do with goal kicking forwards, and they let this fellow go. Quite kickable, the angle, the test. And it's out across the face, so scores a level.
Bit of a strange old start in some ways, Vossi, isn't it?
Well, it is, and both sides at the moment, well, it doesn't look like anyone's manning up, that's for sure. And I'm just trying to work out at the moment who that favours. Richmond at the moment a very high uncontested team. They set up that way. Not too sure whether that's the way Brisbane really want to play, because it sort of almost sets up the way the Tigers want to. So be interesting to see how the game unfolds, who this suits the best.
Yes, beyond the halfway stage of the opening term and only 1 goal each. Revolt thought it was play on. Mitch Clark has time to think about it and now ends up surrendering some metres to bring Merritt back into the game as they try and switch or think about switching.
And literally for Richmond, as we scan the field, as you see up the field, there is an 18-man zone currently. I don't think there's a Tiger player who's manning up.
No, what they're doing, Vossi, it's very much like Hawthorn play under Alistair Clarkson. That's a really good shot. You can see the Richmond players in black are just filling space. Therefore, the Brisbane players, they're just trying to chip it around. They look forward. All they can see Richmond players filling space, so they're putting hesitation and doubt in the mind of Brisbane's players.
So I guess that the run and handball's been the way the teams have,
And that's what they're after.
got through the grid, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's what they're after. They try to slow Brisbane's play down. They don't like it, especially when they've got 2 big forwards up ahead, and now Richmond are away.
Makes commentators just about redundant, Tim, doesn't it?
Richardson.
Positives out of everything, Hutto, I guess.
Some people might like that. I reckon they should get rid of it, the cluster.
Well, this is the venue, of course, with the least surface area too, and it's far more clusterable. Johnson, prominent early. Newman. Scores level. Tigers advancing. Jackson. Morton is at the end of it. Patfull didn't collect cleanly. Push in the back against Morton, a bit careless as he approached that pack. And it's Adcock's ball for the Lions.
So, Vossi, I mean, obviously the Lions coaching staff would be seeing what we're seeing. Will it take till quarter time before they can really get a message out there that perhaps to run to try and get through this?
Well, they have to be patient, yes. At the same time, when the game's ready to be taken on, they have to do it. Sometimes ball movement creates movement further up the field. So can't let that play in Tigers' hands. It's got to play in Brisbane's.
Bradshaw's got Notting as his prime target here. Has he got the placement right? He has almost on his own, but just beaten it to death.
And already a move's been made. McGuan's moved on to Bradshaw. It was Thursfield for the first 15 minutes.
Hasn't been a lot of tackling.
Simmons. Well, not sure what he meant with that. He certainly didn't get a result. Clark well tackled though by White, releasing Richo. Cochin just a bit hot with the kick. Revolt not gathering it. Brisbane holding up. Dalziel, Rowe.
Gee, they're forcing Brisbane wide as they go forward. Very few Brisbane balls taken in the corridor.
Oh, Brown, bit misguided with the hand pass. Newman steals a not an old-fashioned battle of the back lines, but a new age battle of the back lines here.
Good tackle.
Ball up.
Which involves everyone on the ground, doesn't it? Kane Johnson with 8 disposals. But it also makes disposals something of a, maybe not irrelevant, but
Free kick.
Well, it does in this game, Hutto. It's more the advance. The really crucial ones will be as they're going forward. Do they keep going backwards and lose ground, or do they make advancement further up the field? So while I'd say the quantity doesn't matter as much, certainly the quality is going to be a definite factor.
Notting lets fly, and Bradshaw's got away. Just couldn't quite get there though. Could have been a free kick. I didn't think so. Bradshaw with another shot for goal.
Gee, what about the strength of Bradshaw breaking that tackle, Vossi? Strong?
Oh, he's strong. And at the Lions, of course, they call him big guns, and you've only got to just look at him. But the thing that you don't realise, his core strength is just so strong. When he plants his feet, he is hard to move and rarely gets outmarked.
McGuan having a tough time early. He's got tougher since he moved on to Bradshaw. Tigers escape. White. Johnson. Now things a little more open up front. Richardson's there.
Mark number 6, Richo.
Oh, he's a target and a half, and that's a very good kick. Excellent kick, and Delidio should go back and have the shot.
Gee, it's a lovely kick. You're right, Tim. He weighted that kick to perfection. The big fella back in the team. And so many Richmond supporters, all they're talking about, they want Richmond to play finals for this man because he's had a super season, the 33-year-old. He's the heart and soul of the club.
It was a golf approach shot, that kick. Just right for Deledio, who kicks his first of the night and puts the Tigers in front.
And this is the critical. When you're going to have a loose man back, you have to influence that contest. You have to be able to kill the ball because now the Tigers are away and they're caught one-on-one in the defence. Deledio started well.
So they've gradually kicked the last 2 goals. You wouldn't say they've come storming back, the Tigers. It's been a game of patience so far, and the margin is at 4 as the ruckman crash in. You expect that tonight with Simmons and Charman. A little shake from McGrath to try and get through. Brennan, who started on the bench, his form has been really up and down in the last 6 weeks.
Look at the tackling of Richmond. 3 tacklers there on the Brisbane Lions player. Richo's now gone to the goal square. Daniel Merritt is his opponent. Notting, who was his opponent on the wing, has stayed there. 13 tackles to 5, and Lee Matthews won't be happy with that because that's a stat that Brisbane are normally fairly dominant in.
And that's the area they have to dominate in, Hutto. You nailed it straight on the head because their contested ball is their strength. Their ability to be able to win the ball in the contest and worry the opposition out as Richo's gone forward, as Merritt picks him up. So sometimes you have to play to your strengths.
Yeah, Richo having a rest. Just 3 goals for the quarter for the match so far between both sides. Richo with 8 touches, as we said, and 6 marks. Charman down to Black. Mariska-Tally. Good movement ahead. Sherman would have thought about the handball to Notting, who was flying past.
Travis Johnson's in the goal square on Tambly. That is a bit of a worry for the Tigers.
Brown's down there, and so is Bradshaw.
Oh, good spoil. Cal Morse. Good. That's the way you spoil.
That's a statement.
Long and strong.
And that used to be the feature of your side's Vossi,
Mount
didn't
Michael
it?
like that. Have a look at that. Straight over the boundary.
Now he's got to get ready for another contest because the ball back into play.
Bowden against Bowden. He's put the... don't argue.
It didn't look
I played the free.
He stuck the elbow.
I think it was a forearm in the gob.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have a look at the replay.
Saw a couple of those today in the Collingwood-Essendon game. Yeah.
Right in the Adam's apple. That's good they're paying those, because that is a dangerous act.
Fair call. So Travis Johnston is averaging 20 disposals this year for the Lions and has shown an ability to kick goals over the years. 15 so far for the season, so just over 1 a match. And he waited, and he finally can celebrate. The Lions are back in front.
The Lions kicked the opening goal of the night 23 seconds. 35 seconds in, and then had to wait 23 seconds for their next. Ooh, not the best bounce. Tigers footy through Simmons. And not a bad kick. Cochin just not able to hang on. Drummond caught high. So Brisbane's ball. It's 2.5 minutes left in this opening term. Stiller just putting Dalziel under some pressure. Did well. Power. Rowe. Good chase by Patterson. Long ball. Just a bit too long for Bradshaw. So it's another behind.
Good ball movement from the Lions out of defence. Drummond cut back inside on his left foot, created the run.
Bringing it through the corridor, which they didn't do for the first 15 minutes. Brisbane Lions were forced wide, now starting to get some ball going down the middle.
She'd hang a long time with Charman with a good old-fashioned ride.
I think even like that.
And unfortunately, the kick didn't match the mark. And the Tigers away now. Jackson setting up for Nathan Brown. Stalking along the outer wing. What a talent young Cochin is. Must give Tiger fans great hope for the future. Unfortunately, Edwards, handball intercepted by Rowe, who streams forward now for the Lions on the counter-attack. Black seeing a lot more space than they've been used to seeing so far tonight. Bradshaw third in line. White, it does get to Bradshaw in the end. A little dance and off to Stiller. Black instantaneously onto the boot and out wide for Jonathan Brown.
He's got Brown out wide. Tight angle, 50-50 chance to kick it is Brownie. He's not bad at these set shots, opening up the angle by walking around the boundary line. There's the Jamie Charman mark. How good was that? Have you ever seen him get higher than that, Vossi?
Well, I was looking at his expression on his face. Well, I think he was quite in awe of himself, I think, was he, with what he did there?
In awe of himself. Greg Norman used to get in awe of himself.
So here's Jonathan Brown. Oh, he's a master. And the Lions lead by 9.
And both their goals, or attacking moves, the last couple of attacking moves have been through turnovers from the Tigers in the half-back flank. They've been able to set it up as an attacking move for the Lions. So getting some good rebound off the half-back flank.
The man of the moment. Yes.
Made a safe landing too, which is important.
In awe of himself and straight back into the fray in the centre. Brennan, numbers against him. He comes up with a free kick. Tigers didn't need to do that. Could be costly in the last 40 seconds. Late goal either way. Big value. Collier feeds it to Riscatelli. Just pulled the kick.
Gee, and Brisbane will look at this and say, could well be further ahead, and they just might be in the dying seconds of this opening term. They've had 9 scoring shots to 4, and the inside 50 count 17-12.
And terrific interception there by Corrie of the kicking. And we can see there McMahon's kick. Just not sharp enough, hard enough, low enough.
Corrie playing his 50th game tonight after just 6 matches in the past 2 seasons. Played every game this year. And kicked 17 goals, 15 what's more, which is all important now as we watch him try and get the alignment right, despite getting plenty of grief from the Tiger fans behind the goals. And they'll be happy with the miss. In fact, it doesn't even register at all. But the Lions lead by 10 as we head to quarter time.
Well, a good opening quarter, Hutto, and I would think that Brisbane would be a little disappointed they're not further in front. 9 short scoring shots to 4, but certainly the tackling of Richmond a highlight in that first quarter.
And one man on screen there, you'll see Foley and Stiller. Well, Stiller, Foley's only had 2 possessions to date, so Stiller doing a fantastic job early in this game.
Joel Bowden, part of the team on the bench for the Tigers as we get underway in this second term. Charman trying to give the service down to the small men, but Delidio having other ideas. Tuck and Simmons. And now White, who's been a pretty good player for the Tigers this year, and you can see one of his attributes. He's pushed the limit with the amount of run there. Richo Merritt, who's been an opponent of Richo's in years gone past.
And Merritt spoil an absolute beauty on Richo. And the big fella's just taken to that fullback position. like a duck to water and is really defensive, strong, doesn't take too many risks.
Jackson. Foley. Umpire gives it the okay.
Gee.
Notting has it under his control. And now Drummond almost on his wrong side, was able to get a kick away in time for Rowe, who will back himself. A low, hard ball. You wouldn't mind being the full forward. Jonathan Brown would take that 9.5 times out of 10. It may not matter.
For a kick.
Gee, lovely kick, wasn't it? Virtually standing still and just chipped it the 16 metres to set up a shot for goal.
Sherman to shoot for goal. Beautifully placed ball for Justin Sherman, who's played 12 games this year. His kicking has been terrible. 4 goals, 10. But that's okay. And the Lions lead by 16 now.
Well, Jonathan Brown was able to make amends for falling over pretty much. Like what was mentioned, he'd take that mark 9 times out of 10. But his use of the ball, which was special, over to Sherman, who's had indifferent form this year, but certainly looks like he's running on top of the ground tonight.
And was this out of play, boys?
Oh, yes, yes.
The whole ball has to be across the line. It looked as though it was. Black giving it up. Brown for Richmond, just lobbing it to a spot where no man stood. Attacking at Patfull. McGrath, it's just happening a little easily for Brisbane at the moment, and the lead's blown out somewhat dangerously. Dalziel, the second gamer, to Drummond, and Brisbane entering and delivering to Copeland, who can line them up with relative ease. Well, he gives to Drummond, who is a lovely long kick. That is a lovely long kick. It's a goal. That was all too easy.
Well, it was. And Copeland's playing pretty much as a defensive forward on McMahon. And we'll see Copeland take the mark there. McMahon, the halfback playmaker for Richmond, just 3 disposals in that first quarter.
It's all a bit easy for the Brisbane Lions at the moment, isn't it? What would Terry Wallace be thinking at this stage, Vossi?
Well, he'd be certainly concerned because he's been led to the ball, and Patfull showed he left his player and he took off and backed himself in. That's what the Lions are doing.
Brown, the outlet for the Tigers. Reebok having to use his body, but Patfull had it all covered quite comfortably. And this is McGrath. Makes the escape at the crucial time. Dalziel's the insurance for Patfull. Right, Lions refusing to be hurried, but it does fall away at the Tigers, at least in the short term. But now Adcock with a different view on the situation. Stiller feeding Black, feeding Brown, who's always hungry, but not this time. Schultz rolls the dice a little, and it doesn't come his way. Charman. Lions are all pretty much up and about. Low fire ball in from Drummond. Well trapped on the bounce by McGuan. Schultz, Tamlin, quick decisions needed now. And it was a pretty hurried one. It had to be. A handball went wide, bodies collide, and it's a Tiger ball. Decision, I think that Corey was the one that initiated the high contact. Now Schultz has got to try and do something about it. Tigers getting a bit of their own medicine from the first quarter, as the margin stands at 22, and Richmond got a lot of work to do.
Gee, Tamling backing himself with his run, brought down, but caught over the shoulder, so he gets a free kick.
And Brisbane are putting that pressure on that they're known for. This is what made them the play. Put them in the position that they are in on the ladder, was their pressure, to be ability to be able to turn over the ball.
Tambling perhaps trying to spark something, because that's what Richmond lack at the moment. Here's Richardson. Good spoil made by Merritt, just prized it away. Patfull, Notting, Drummond. Brisbane in control.
Drummond having an influence also.
At both ends. Corrie. Tigers not wanting to concede another right now. Moore been up to the task most times on Brown. Now the head clash a moment ago. Gee, they both went pretty hard at the ball, but Patterson was there first. And that's why he was awarded the free kick. Corrie just arriving a fraction of a second later. Tuck, quick hands. Deledio on the break. And this looks more promising for the Tigers. But the hand pass is a shocker.
And that's a shame, because they had a fast break there, 3 against 1, and the errant handball by Deledio.
Well, maybe Johnson had to push that little bit harder to collect.
Maybe he can't bend as he once used to, Tim.
And now his hand pass is smothered. Deledio back for another go. Foley. Lean picking so far. Tambling trying hard to get something happening. So's Deledio. Johnson will go in a big circle. Foley. Patterson wants to play on. Cochin from the middle. Good delivery. Good spoil. It was an arm chop in the opinion of the umpire. Simmons ball, and Cochin followed his own kick up and can have a shot.
Every time, there are some players, every time the ball goes in their hands, you take your eyes off that player, because you just know that he's going to use it well, and Cochin, the youngster, is one of those. And it's a great bonus for Richmond that they've got a first-year player who has got that poise and class and nous. And he is just going to be a wonderful playmaker for them over the next 10 years, barring injury.
We see a lot of footy, Wallsy. It's hard for us not to wax lyrical about a young man like him, isn't it? Because he just looks so good.
He does.
Nathan Brown, a terrific finisher. Back to 16 points.
And the Tigers just have to hang in here. The Lions are on a run, so the scoreboard just has to keep ticking over. That man is having a big influence on this game, as in the AFL early on in his career.
And the clearances may have been won in this quarter by Richmond, but it hasn't done them much good.
Tigers have got Richo coming up to the wing. He's been at full forward for the first 8 minutes of this second term.
At the moment, the man with him is young Brad Dalziel, so that's a welcome to footy in your second game, to be running with Matthew Richardson.
And that's where they've got to make the quick change. And they have Rowe said, I'll get back. Dalziel covered him. And now Rowe has gone back. So that now Merritt comes out. So good communication by Brisbane Lions.
And it's Newman as it opens up. Edwards was ready for the handball from Johnson. He didn't take that avenue. McMahon for his own advantage. Richo behind him if he needed him, which he did, but he couldn't find him. The Lions defence, just with sheer weight of numbers, bringing it out. Merritt's kicked out. Just dropped on his trajectory. You can see the look in the eye of Tamley. He gets sense of opportunity. Brown has to go hard. Again, too many Lions bodies in the way. And Adcock can steer them out of defence. Drummond's already had 7 touches for the quarter and 10 for the match. And time for McGrath to think about how he's going to bring the ball into attack. Didn't have to think long and thought, yeah, I might go for Jonathan Brown.
It's tough on the defender.
It is, isn't it?
Your right arm drags his
He stayed
right
with
arm
him
down.
all the way too, more. That was a big lead by Brown, some 50-60 metres. So to stay on his tail, it was a fantastic effort.
Brown just 2 marks so far. Stiller, the centering ball. Charman getting to the drop, but falling over. Corrie couldn't quite go all the way. Tamblin is really trying hard for Richmond at the moment. Simmons and Johnson, Tuck, and now the sweeper sets up Richardson in some space. Has to limit his advance to Brown.
Deledio.
Just couldn't quite hang on to it. He's taken it over the line. It's called out.
Gee, it was a good effort by Deledio. He ran 50-60 metres. Richmond supporters think he could have marked that.
Looked like you didn't hold
I
it.
think he
Went out
did
there.
mark it.
Well, the umpire says it looked like he didn't hold it. Let's have a look.
I don't think he did. He wasn't in control. I reckon it found some grass, but you could argue all night. Nathan Brown has 2 of their 3 goals. That's a good kick for Revolt.
That's what great players do with the ball in their hands. It just stands out, doesn't it, Wolsey?
And
Just
it was
fantastic.
And it was a lovely work at the boundary throw in. They hit it away from their own goals, so the player with it, Brownie, was facing and didn't have to twist and turn. He was able to sweep around on the left. Big Richo off for a breather. And this is the future of Richmond kicking.
Same intense look on his face as he had that night after the siren against St Kilda. He gets a better result here. A goal to Jack Revolt.
Now, just for the moment also, I think that Ash McGrath is currently on Brown. You'll see the separation there. Just didn't get body contact against a good player.
So the margin cut to 10 with consecutive Tiger goals. And Revolt putting it through, giving the Tigers some hope, because they were looking without that just a few short moments ago. Streaming forward again. Edwards, well-placed ball from Morton. Didn't quite get the bounce he was after. Collier couldn't quite collar him successfully, and the umpire in fact deems that it was too high.
Smashing him out of the middle, Wolsey.
Yes, and taking it straight through the corridor. They're starting to get a pretty dangerous forward line with Mitch Morton, Rewalt, Richo, Nathan Brown hitting really good form, and they started at that centre bounce with Brett Delidio in the goal square at full forward, and Delidio's already had 11 disposals, but rather than take him off, Terry Wallace puts him in the goal square because he's got so much talent, maximises the use of a quality player.
15 goals in the last month for Mitch Morton. And no problems there. It's back to a 4-point ball game now. What a turnaround, one that we didn't see, but I guess that stack you talked about of the clearances out of the middle, Vossi, finally getting the rewards you would expect.
Yeah, one man that's having a huge influence is Nathan Brown. And at that stoppage, or the last one at the boundary throw-in, they're smashing them around the stoppages at the moment.
It's 9-0 now for the quarter.
It's hurting Brisbane big time. You can hold it up for so long, but at the Telstra Dome, and as Luke Darcy mentioned a couple of weeks ago, the centre breaks become very important at this ground because it's hard to get back due to the speed of this ground.
Just like that last centre bounce, Morton in picture as the ball was bounced. He's playing as a forward, but he's starting pretty much on the wing, and he just ran towards his team's goal, put pressure on his opponent.
Another clearance victory to Richmond. Patterson getting it quickly onto Simmons. Just couldn't back enough. Clark showing good mobility for a big bloke. Sherman to Riscatelli. Just too strong for Brown, but he read it earlier than his opponent and is able to run on, kick long and kick a very, very good goal.
And he hasn't had a lot of opportunities, Brownie, for shots at goal, but gee, he's made the most of them. That's a wonderful finish.
Now we look at the interchange bench there, and you can see Jamie Charman, the big fellow, and Simon Black. That might be one reason, Vossi, why they've struggled a little bit. Mitch Clark obviously learning the caper.
Riscatelli normally not bad at generating some footy out of the middle, but again, great anticipation from Foley that time. Jumped onto it quickly, down to Nathan Brown, deals it off for Morton. More handball around, it ends with the man who started it all, Foley, and he just can't finish it in the style he would have liked.
That's an absolute purple patch out of the middle. the Tigers.
This is Adcock for Brisbane. They've been very good in recent weeks at limiting their opponents at clearances to just 34%. Second lowest percentage conceded over the last month. Brisbane work it around down the back. Hatful out wide to McGrath. Brown starting to take an edge on Moore. What a big task for the young Tiger defender.
Simmons, Richmond ruckman, has come off. Richo's come on and gone into the back 50.
Patterson having to cut across in front. I don't think he was the infringing player. He couldn't have been. It's a free kick though to Bradshaw.
It's at least 3 times in this game that it's been a Brown to Bradshaw play. I'm sure we'll see a lot more of it.
Thumping kick from Bradshaw. Did he thump it enough? Not quite. He kicked the first goal of the night. He's kicked 4 behind since then.
Lee Matthews and Josh Drummond exchanging views. Maybe not. Maybe it's all one way. We're not sure. Newman for Patterson.
Oh, that is wonderful footwork.
Great awareness from Cochin as to what he needed to do. Links up with Delidio. I reckon we'll say that a few times in years to come. And young Edwards on the end of it.
Titch Edwards, Tim.
Titch just pops it over the top. Hard running from Bowden. And he can line them up.
Good use of the ball, and Cochin started it, Fossey, at half-back.
Oh, his footwork was just absolutely amazing. His ability, watch here. And just that step to lose Adcock. He is no slouch as a tackler, Adcock. And just to be able to leave him in his wake is just a pure talent.
So we watch Joel Bowden, who's kicked 6 goals, 19 for the year. Not the thing to really instill you with confidence as he comes in, but history proves no problem for Joel. Cop that. It's back to 4 points.
How are you reading this at the moment, Wolsey? Because the Lions are not getting much out of the middle of the park and they're making the most of their opportunities, but Richmond are certainly making the play at the moment.
Oh, I reckon Richmond are looking really dangerous. I do. They've got a forward line that constantly changes. You've got Richo down there, then he's away. You've got Delidio there, Morton, Rewalt. They look very dangerous up forward. Jamie Chalmers had a really long spell on the interchange, boys. They're letting Clark, and we see him here with the bandaged shoulder.
Against Patterson.
Again.
Another clearance victory to Richmond. And Foley likes these. He hasn't had much of it tonight.
Hit the stick.
Wanted a better result than that. Did hit the stick and the margin is 3.
I think Brisbane have got to push their forwards up. They've got to get their half-forward flankers up the ground so their wingers can protect that space behind, because they are getting smashed forward of centre. When the ball breaks into that space, they're getting left behind, so they've got to get their forwards up the field.
And Patterson takes the mark. I figure the ball was already over the boundary line anyway. Foley just coming into your frame in the last few minutes, racking up 5 possessions over the last 2 or 3 minutes. This is Schultz. Tigers pressing. Richardson the target. Richardson the marker. Now plenty of lines backfilling the spaces.
Mark 8 to Richo.
Just beyond him, you would think. So he goes for a pass. Great imagination shown by Richo there. And Schultz sliding in for the grab.
Yeah, Schultz knew what was on, Hutto.
He didn't know nothing, was he? Had a big night against the Lions a long time ago up at the Gabba, didn't he? And kicked 6 one night back when you're at your best.
Was it 6? Yeah, he kicked it on Mel Michael. Sorry, Mel.
To the top of the square. Crashing in. Simmons right on time. And he can line them up.
It was a nice kick in as much as it wasn't a big hanger in the air. It had enough elevation to give the big fellas a chance to have a run at it. So well done to Schultz. They are looking so dangerous when they move the ball into their forward line.
Troy Simmons, 10 goals, 6 for the year. He's got a good history against the Lions, averaging 19 disposals, 20 hitouts and 4 inside 50s per game. And he gives Richmond the lead. Can you believe that? Had looked most unlikely in the early stages of this second quarter. But apart from that one long goal for the Lions, it's been all Richmond.
He's been important, Simmons. He's started in the middle, and now he takes this sensational contested mark, the run and jump, and then the balance to be able to go back. Super important to have a ruckman that can do all those things. Just have a look at that.
Have a look at that, and that's why this man needs to be on the ground. He's been on the bench for the last 10 minutes. This kid's trying, but he's not really a ruckman at this stage. Charman needs to be out there.
12-0 total domination. Make that 13, although it'll come back quickly. Adcock levering it out for Drummond. Typically probing kick.
Back and lead up.
Travis Johnston. Brisbane needing a steadying goal. It's chopped off by Tark, and Richmond now playing with confidence. Their form early was surprisingly mediocre. They were coming here with such good form. In fact, Essendon's effort over Collingwood today really making Richmond's win over them last week look very good. The Tigers have been playing good footy, and there's a lot to play for. They can set themselves up for a real tilt at the finals with a win here tonight.
Well, the Tigers have won 4 of their last 5 games, Tim.
Simmons. Oh, just a little bit too strong for Titch. Clark to Black after a bit of a breather. Now Riscatelli within range, and he misses.
Well, that would have been a great counter for the Lions because they've been outplayed for most of this quarter. And just to be able to nudge in front would have been very important.
Tambling and Revolt knew exactly what was going on there. Off the left, this is White with a full head of steam.
Not 15.
I reckon the umpire's got this right.
You marked it and you're half pulled up. You're running into his territory. Play on.
Well umpired.
Play on.
Not sure everyone shared the same view in the stand. Back to White again. Corrie was closing. Standing start stuff for Kane Johnson. Can Richo get there? He doesn't need to. Revolt.
And Hutto, just what you said there, he doesn't need to. It's been 10 years since you could say that. And now this young kid is just improving as each game goes by. And have a look at that. Eyes on the footy, Jack Riewoldt. Courage, skill, lovely high leap.
Struggled last week, was goalless, but is in good shape tonight. For his second. Richmond extend their lead. They're out to an 8-point lead.
Brisbane centre quartet getting their heads together. They've got some hard thinking and talking to do in there. They're being smashed. Richmond have kicked 6 of the last 7 goals. Won every clearance of the corner, and they've won another one. Tuck. Deledio. Back to Tuck. Long ball Revolt, Simmons, the two of them collided. And they both felt it. Dalziel off to Rowe, Power, McGrath and Brown.
Getting some kicks, Brownie, but they're up on the wing.
Revolts
won't worry Terry Wallace that much.
Drummond. Can see a couple of targets. One of them is Brennan, who's been quiet. He's got this.
Beautiful kick.
Had the sound effects of a great golf shot, didn't it? Off his foot.
He said he's been quiet, Tim. He's had one disposal, Jared Brennan. This for a man who, here a couple of weeks ago, had over 20 and kicked 4 goals.
He kicked 3 in the last quarter, didn't he?
Will he kick this?
No reason why not. I think he will.
From outside 50, it is a lovely kick. Important goal for Brisbane.
And he's been thrown into the middle to mix it up. And he did spend some time early in the year in the middle, and he was winning some good ball. Of late, played forward, had an impact there. And I know from speaking with him that he has really enjoyed his time as a midfielder.
They've probably got their best centre square combination in at the moment, Brisbane. There's Charman and Black and Power and Jared Brennan, who just kicked that last goal.
Foley again battling on. Got a handball out to Jackson.
Geez, they work hard there.
I don't like how Brisbane are setting up at the centre square.
Delidio's kick chopped off by Patford. What an improved player he is. And these two sides last met midway through last year, and the game was a draw. Patford was a forward kicking several goals. Sherman's got them into attack. Dalziel.
Welcome to league footy.
Yeah, finding out the physical element of senior footy. It gets up and back into the fray. Now some high contact there.
Go about it. Jamie, be more careful.
Well, that's a great bump.
And he got hit, but he got straight back up and he dived after the next ball, so well done.
Schultz just measuring off the pass. Kane Johnson prolific tonight. His 18th disposal brings the big man Patterson into play. And Brown, who we haven't seen for a few minutes, stretching out is McMahon now. Standing start, Richo. Rose athletic enough to go with him. You can see the pace of Collier. And I think he's drawn some illegal contact.
Come on, Collier. Daniel, with me, Daniel. With me, Daniel.
So 90 seconds remaining in this half. What a tight, interesting struggle it is, with Richmond leading by 2, but the Lions with at least one more chance to surge forward via Travis Johnston.
And it's a beautifully controlled kick. Doesn't get an immediate result. In fact, doesn't get a result in the end, other than a throw-in. Joel Bowden a moment ago copping a bit of a poke in the eye or a whack on the nose.
Accidental from Jamie Charman, of course.
Ooh, some hard contact there between two Tigers. There'll be a ball up at Brisbane's 50. Luke McGuan in there. He it was who dished out that shirt front a little while ago. And the legal hip and shoulder is still quite permissible, and at the right moment can be executed to good effect, as Brad Dalziel discovered. Tuck to Jackson, took his time. Brown, who's done his fair share on ball. Nice kick, Schultz. In the last minute now. 2 points in it.
Stay there.
Johnson's ball for Richmond. Now surely they'll attack here. No. Surely they'll try and kick a goal. Well, they might via the switch. Moore will receive. Thursfield to try and run to receive from him. And does. But can't advance. Tambling. Brisbane with the numbers back, and Richmond just not daring at the moment. Now there's a bit of an opening.
Rose hurt.
More to Deledio. for sure. Simmons, and he did well against Collier, just fended him off. It was a bit big and strong for the young Tasmanian. Now, if he waits, he'll hear the siren and recognise the precise circumstances.
Good thing that Terry Wallace has done in this first half. He's continually mixed his forward line up with players like Simmons and Schultz and Richo, the big fellas. Then you've got Morton and Rewalt, who are tall, athletic. Delidio's gone to full forward. Nathan Brown's gone in and out of the forward line. Cochin spent time there. The forward line is continually being mixed up. Little Titch Edwards is there.
They've kicked 6 goals to 4 for the quarter. After the bell, Troy Simmons, wobbly old kick, but it's, well, it was straight. It didn't have the carry. He miscued it. So it's Richmond by 2 points at halfway.
Well, I think that the Brisbane Lions will be happy that they're going 2 points down as we see some argy-bargy, because the Tigers were dominating and they started in the centre square.